Are you asking obscure song titles again?
Yes, I am.
How many roads must a man walk down?
Weezy's on camera now. We're live.
Why do fools fall in love? Why do things so gay? And love is real thing. Why do they fall in love? Tell me why.
Wait, what was the Hitchhiker's Guide reference?
Yeah, it looks a lot scarier on camera.
Why do they fall in love?
How many roads must a man walk down? Remember when they were trying to come up with the question?
For the question for the answer, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The answer. They were trying to come up with the question.
Oh, wasn't? Oh, I thought you were looking it up.
One of the ones that the mice floated
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a possible question.
The vault, yeah. Okay.
2 minutes.
So who is it?
Maybe it's going to stay on
Oh, Jimmy's. Why?
Oh.
Did everyone see 42?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
how it ends.
Pain and Gain. Anybody see Pain and Gain?
I will tell you this.
Yes? No?
The rocket ship makes it back to Earth.
Oh, great.
42 is the best movie.
Spoiler alert. Pain and
Pain and Gain
that
is
people really died. That people were really murdered, and these people and
Pain
these
and Gain.
individuals are angry, scary.
What? Huh?
men.
But
Isn't it?
it's
It's not a comedy.
It's not a comedy?
there is funny in this thing, but it moves so fast they don't give you time to laugh. There's
Oh.
massive funny in it.
Oh.
The characters are terrific. Rock of all people is great. The rest of it.
1 minute.
What's his name? Tony Shalhoub plays a Jew. He's terrific. It's really a good movie.
How's Mark Wahlberg? My mom says he's my real dad. So
I think he is your real dad.
Great.
Because he looks just like him.
Mark Wahlberg's over. I mean, he's a popcorn guy. It's a I don't know if he'll ever win Best Actor.
He's from Boston.
The right script.
He was really good in
There's
Departed.
popcorn movies.
Yeah.
He was nominated.
Penny Gain's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, he
but
was
it's
really good in that.
well done.
Tell me why.
30 seconds.
42 though was
30 seconds.
outstanding.
Oh.
Oh, here we go.
Test.
Everybody, get
Do
up.
I have something to talk
Get up.
about?
Get lively.
Jake, Isabel's quote of the day.
Did you see how introducing
Isabel's
her
quote
thing?
of the day.
Are you ready?
Is
Maddie, with
America
the
a
shout
or
out?
is the United States of America a
And
country?
say
15.
say the words with personality and
Can we give the high school question
10.
of the day?
Yeah,
Question
But I
for
want
high
it to
school,
have its own show.
Yeah.
not
Don't steal mine, Ryan. If you steal mine, I kill you.
5, 4, pray.
Ready and action.
Oh, click.
Our place where we can dream and share it. Our place, we'll find a friend to care.
Woo! Ryan, that was not in time to the music. Not exactly sure what the point of that gesture
I'm not
was.
perfect, Wheezy.
Okay.
Back off.
Yeah, no problem.
Not in the mood for it today.
Dance lessons after class. I'm Louise Palenker. We are Our Place Out Loud. We are your lovely and captivating hosts here with a panel of teenagers to talk about all things teen. We have CO. And CO, would you like to introduce your special guest?
Yes, my special guest name is Baby David.
Baby David.
He's
And-
a draglin,
And he's from...
and he's from the Renaissance Fair.
Oh, excellent. Did a
Yeah.
pirate give that to you? Or
No.
did you steal that off a pirate's shoulder?
I stole it off a pirate's shoulder after I beat him in a fencing competition. I didn't really.
Was that pirate David Bowie?
David Bowie isn't a pirate.
But he is.
Arg. Okay, and we have
He's the
Kia
Goblin
Mute.
King.
We have Ryan. We have Maddie. And in the studio, we've got Jake. Yay, Jake. Please give us a call at 888-531-7171 and join Jake and Matt in the chat room, which you will find at ourplacenetwork.com/listen or at livestream.com/JOLtest, which makes no sense, but yet that is our URL. I am Louise Palenker, and we did a little something different for shout-outs this week because we got a little tired of just rattling off names, and you guys probably were tired of it as well. So this week we asked you to describe yourself using 3 words. Maddie, take it away with the shout-outs.
So we have Lauren, who is shy, musical, and artsy. Pieface01, who is creative, loud, and bold. Kate TW said meow, meow, meow.
Ooh, stole it right from cats.
Gunblood47 said lazy, shy, and awesome. I can share some of those qualities. Catsko Rar said just 3 words.
Oh,
As
so
her 3
Jean.
words.
Yay.
Yeah. Airedales are awesome, said unusual, shy, animal lover. Animal lover is one word.
4 words. Darn it. She's going to be deducted for points. Okay, go ahead.
Autumn 11 said nice, funny, bold. And I'm not sure if that was 11 or 1-1 because there was like a space, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Black Ivy said strange, annoying, obsessive. I'm sure you're not annoying.
Those are interesting words, though.
Yes. Miss Jordan Colfer said quiet, wise, and winner. Awesome Pizza said shy, nice, and funny. Sapphire said shy, artistic, wallflower. And Blood Rain said your worst nightmare. Ooh.
We close on a threat. Yay.
We had a lot of shy people.
And what did you want to say about high school questions, Ryan?
Oh, I just figured it'd be interesting, to share some of the things that we hear in high school classrooms that are questions that people are seriously asking, which today in class was, is the United States a country? Just thought that was a little bit interesting.
Who asked that and in what class?
A person in humanities class.
And is this person going to be graduating high school?
Probably.
Scary.
What was the answer?
Scary. Or running
The answer
for
was
Miss
the
America.
whole class just silent.
Oh.
And just like holding their breath.
Yeah, we were in too much of a shock to laugh.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just
And
a
then
little
they went on
scary.
later to say, I have experienced obesity. Last week I was at the airport and I experienced the obesity epidemic. Like what?
Was it the same person?
Yeah, same person.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right, so we don't need any names, but
Yeah.
please give us a call and tell us who is an idiot at your school. 888-531-7171. Let's dive on into questions and get going. We've got some good stuff to discuss. Maddie wanted to handle this one, and so I will let her. It's from Just a Little Girl, and the question is, any tips for staying organized?
Okay, so I'm just going to tell a 15-second story. Probably not actually 15 seconds. Okay, so
Okay,
basically-
Animagus, we're timing you.
So at 2 a.m. on Saturday, I was like, I need to clean my room. So I got up at 2 a.m. and started cleaning my room.
Wait. Back up.
Yeah.
What was it that came over your little mind at 2 a.m. that did not allow you to sleep, that instead compelled you to get up and start cleaning like a lunatic?
That's a good question.
Yes, it is.
I was kind of awake and I was thinking about, I don't know, just like the world and things, just like, thoughts and everything.
Okay.
So, and then I was looking around my room and I was like, wow, it's really messy. And I was like, I should clean. So I did.
And your family doesn't hear that and get up and say, "What are you doing?" and
I
go
do
to
it
sleep.
silently.
You cleaned silently.
I'm like a ghost.
You have a silencer on your vacuum cleaner.
No, not like vacuum cleaning type thing, like a organizing type thing.
All right.
Yeah.
So I want her to be organized, not obsessive. Can you help?
I can help. So basically, you want to kind of separate between the things that you do need, the things that you don't need. The things that you don't need, get rid of because they're just going to confuse you more, whatever kind of things, whether this is homework or kind of scheduling. Or actually, and also, the things that you do need, just kind of categorize them. Obviously don't obsess, don't put things into like tiny categories, otherwise there won't be any categories.
Broad categories.
Yeah, broad categories. Like, is this schoolwork? Is this homework? Is this documents I need to keep for
Or
school?
memorabilia.
Yeah, is this memorabilia? Is this just for fun? And kind of discard the stuff that you don't need because it's just going to further confuse you.
All right, very good. Before we continue with that, Ryan has an announcement.
All right, guys. So we have 163 people on right now, which is just like an outstanding number.
Yep.
But if each one of you guys who's online and watching would give a friend a call or shoot them a text and tell them to also sign on, we'd really appreciate that. The more people we can get in the app, the better. And it's just great for the app and great for you guys to have more advice in there. So try and get people hooked on it and invite someone.
Let's get to
join in.
200. Screen cap it when you think it's really high or higher than you ever. Whenever you see a number that's higher than you've ever seen, screen cap it just so we have it because it's
Exactly.
fun. And one of the things that I wanted to add for organization is that I think that definitely putting things in categories is great, but what I like to always do is just say, like the simplest rule of organization is just have a place for everything that's important to you. And it could be like two places. Like, for example, if you have a key, it's either in your pocket or it's on this hook, and it's never anywhere else. Because if you lay a key down thinking, oh, I'm going to remember where I put this, you won't. And those are just the rules of life. You will not remember laying something on a random surface, and or someone else will think it's their key and pick it up, and it will be gone forever. So if you have something that's important to you, your iPod, your homework, your key, your earbuds, pick two places where it could be. A certain pocket of your backpack, a certain pocket of your clothing, and at the end of your night, take everything out of your pockets and put them on your dresser. Like, don't let things go anywhere just because a certain thought occurs to you while you're walking from here to there and like, oh, I'm going to need 2 hands to do that, so I'll put this here. And then an hour later, you have no idea where this is because it seemed like a good idea at the time and it wasn't. Does anyone else have anything to add to that strategy? Ryan?
Well, I know for me, I'm like really spatially weird, and so I need everything to be like lined up, right? So all the stuff like on my dresser is like the same distance apart from each other, and it's like really boxy, and I don't know, I keep it really organized just because like my brain wants me to. But in terms of the stuff that like I carry around with me, my backpack, which is where I keep most of my stuff, is like, I think it has like 4 different parts to it, and like the first part is it's 3. First part is my binders, the second is my books, and then the third is like my calculator and my pens and pencils.
Mm-hmm.
And like that never changes. And the
Cool.
top is where I put my phone, and like I can just always count on all my stuff being in each individual pocket. So find a place that you want to put your stuff and keep it there.
Yeah, and always like with a backpack, definitely compartmentalize your backpack because there's nothing worse than like needing your wallet or your money and just like having to dump out your whole backpack in front of like the entire movie theater full of people. Go ahead, Maddie.
There's a girl in my grade who literally all she does is she sticks just papers into this huge bag, and it freaks me out.
That's what I did.
I see this bag, and it's literally just stuffed with things, and it's not organized, and it drives me nuts because there's papers falling everywhere, and I hate it.
But she's got to figure out her own
I
stuff.
know, she has to do it.
Did you want to add something, Kyo?
No, I was just saying that's what I did. I'm not the person to ask if you want to get organized.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Very.
Not yet. Not this year. Well, let's move on to the next topic, Ryan. Super Pandas. Hey, Wheezy Bear. Actually, who wants to read this? Because it's kind of long. Ryan.
You know you can count on me to talk, Wheezy.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Hey, Wheezy Bear. So I'm over Bradley, finally, XD smiley face, and another crush has come forth. His name is Jason. He's supposed to be in 7th grade, but he got held back a year. I was going to ask him out 1 week, but the day I missed school to get my braces, my friend Mia asked him out. Oh. The thing is, Mia skipped a grade, so they're 2 years apart. I'm having trouble handling it because I've liked Jason since the first month of school, July 2012, and I really don't know what to do. So I guess I'm just asking for general advice. And would you mind featuring it on Opal next Tuesday? Thanks so much. Heart, Tara the Panda.
Okay, so the question is, like, just after she reveals her crush to her friend and then misses a day of school, her friend goes and asks the kid out. Coincidence? Is it trying to get something that you know someone else wants and trying to prove your own attractiveness? Or is it just one of those things where she thought, okay, Tara likes this guy. I better ask him out now because I've liked him for a long time. Like, what's really going on here, and how does Super Pandas handle it? Ryan?
Well, I'm not too sure that Mia actually knew that Super Pandas was interested in the guy.
No, she did.
Oh, she did?
This came in various forms of questions. She
Oh,
did
okay,
reveal
she did.
her crush, and then the next day she wasn't at school,
All right.
and the kid asked the kid.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's messed up, I think.
it is kind of messed up, and it's definitely tough to deal with. But at the same time, like, there's a certain, it's really tough when 2 close friends are interested in the same person because, it's it gets situations like this. But if you just talk to her because you are close friends and you just tell her, hey, so it kind of bothered me that I just told you that I like Jason, and then I miss 1 day of school, and you go and you ask him out. Just let her know how you feel. You don't have to ask for anything to change because it's not right to expect them to change anything or to ask anything to change. But just express to her how you feel, and she's a close friend, and she'll listen. I don't know.
Well, that's very wise, but I was also thinking that, the correct thing for Tara to do at this point would be like, hey, this happened. Help me understand. Just an open-ended question like that, but also like that her friend really, if she was going to go and ask out the guy that she liked, maybe would have said, when you tell me that you like the guy, maybe then say, oh my gosh, I like the same guy. Like, so that there isn't such secretive. Kyo.
Yeah, I would advise her to at least talk to her friend and ask, like, what's up, because she knew what was going on. I had a situation like this with my friend, but we both knew that we liked the same girl, and we were cool with it, and we were like, yeah, I'm not going to go easy on you or help you out, but I'm not, like, hurt that you like the same person. That's
such a dude way of handling it. Yeah, let's full court press this.
I mean, I'm not going to help you, but I'm not going to, that's just how it was with us. And it's definitely like that would make me trust someone less because it feels like they're going behind my back. And
Yeah,
it's
it's like, and girls are more sneaky. Not that I'm trying to sound sexist or anything, but girls are more like, I better act now while I have a chance, rather than just saying, okay, well, let's lay all our cards down. I also like Jason, and so how shall we proceed? I mean, yes, ideally, but I don't know that everyone has the wisdom to do that at 13. And before I go to you, Ryan, I just want to mention that the phone lines are open, and if you would like to weigh in on this topic, please give us a call at 888-531-7171. Ryan.
The phone lines are open, like, I don't know, I was going to make a reference, but sorry. Okay, so I had something in my mind, but I lost. Anyways, all right, so.
The phone lines are also open-minded.
And they're open like doors.
Wow. Yeah.
I give that one. That's my. There we go.
Love it.
All right. So what I was gonna say is just also like, I was talking to a girl yesterday, and she was explaining to me like how much she hates that girls can be really like backstabby, kind of, whether it be like talking about you behind your back or things like this, where it's like your close friend will like do something like that. Well, I don't know. It's just like she was explaining to me all these scenarios, and I was just like, why can't things just be so simple? Like, even for guys, stuff is complicated, but it's different. I just like, sometimes I ask myself why stuff can't be simple, and sometimes I think that's like the best way to go about things, just to get them as simple as you can. What do you think, Sio?
I feel like girls have this, like, it's not the same kind of ego as guys have, but they definitely have this ego that I feel like plays, or I do. I mean, I'm only speaking about my own experiences because I don't know whatever for other girls, but like, I have this thing. Like, I won't do that to my friends. I won't be like, we usually don't like the same people. Usually my friends like nerdy guys, and I just want to be friends, But, like, definitely if there's something that they want that I want too, I have a harder time saying, oh, well, I want that too, rather than saying in my mind to myself, well, I'm better, so I'm going to get it first. Mm-hmm. Even though that's a bad way to think.
Well, it may not be. I wouldn't use the word bad. It may just be dangerous because you may lose that friendship over that competitiveness.
I mean, I don't let the competitiveness get to me. I'm just saying it's there.
It's there. Oh no, I think thoughts are normal, and we're all human. We all put our own self-interests first, and there's nothing selfish or wrong about that. It's called survival instinct and just being a person. And how boring would it be if everybody was just like, no, you go first, and no one would ever go anywhere. They'd just be waiting for each other to go. Maddie?
It's kind of funny that you say that because, like, in elementary school when my friend and I both liked the same guy, I was like, no, it's okay. No, I don't really like him anymore, even though I still did. And then we kind of just ended up not being friends anymore, just for kind of like drifting away. I didn't try to keep the friendship.
Yeah, I mean, there's that pride thing too. When like someone says, "Oh, is it okay if I go out with your ex?" and you're just like, "Oh yeah, it's fine," and inside you're thinking, "Stab with knife." Yeah. We are Our Place Out Loud. I am Louise Palenker here with Sio, Keo, Ryan, Maddie, and Jake is in the control booth. We're going to move on to the next question. Please join Jake in the chat room. Matt is also in the chat room, and there's a lot of excellent chatting going on during the show. Naleen, I think is how she says this. I need help. I feel insecure and fat, and I just wish somebody can understand how I feel. Instead, my friends just think I'm an attention whore, and I feel terrible. Do you think I should get counseling? I'm constantly worrying about my family bills, and I just don't know what to do. I feel so stupid and lost and insecure. I'm 13, and I'm thinking of dyeing my hair blonde. I'm a redhead, because I get laughed at by a lot of people at school. Anyways, should I get counseling, and should I dye my hair? How do I convince my parents? Thanks. So this kid, her thoughts are all over the road, based on what is really, in essence, just the natural 13-year-old insecurity about life and who she is and everything. Thoughts? Keo?
Well, it seems a lot like she cares a lot about what everyone else thinks, which I think is normal for a 13-year-old. I feel like when you get older, you start to care a lot less and care more about what makes you happy and what you want. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I would have to ask her, like, what reasons she has for feeling all these things. Like, why does she feel insecure or fat? And, like...
Well, if she's hearing in her own household a lot of things that make her feel unsafe regarding, I don't know how much kids should know about the bills, and you should try and keep that from your kids if that's a concern so that they can feel safe. But, insecurity can stem from just feeling that your own stability is at risk in terms of having to move out of your house or something like that.
She might just be thinking about that like it might not have anything to do with her situation.
It might not. It might not. But my theory is that it may, because her parents may be too worried about bills to give her the confidence that she needs, and she may say, "Am I fat? Am I okay?" And they're just like, "I can't think about that. You know, I got to figure out how to pay the water bill." Maddie.
About the dyeing hair thing, I mean, if you really want to dye your hair blonde, and that's just like, you know, how you really want your hair to look, you know, go ahead, you know, do it as long as it's okay with your parents, and, you know, don't overly damage your hair. But, you know, if you want to dye your hair blonde because you're being made fun of with the kind of hair that you have, don't do it. It's just not worth it. You
It's
know,
not really going to make you happy.
It's not a good reason. Yeah.
No, and I also think she's going to get teased even more for that because she's doing it for all the wrong reasons. She's not like, "Hey, look at me. I have blonde hair. I'm owning this look." You know, she's more like, "All right, this is a defensive move, and you know, I just don't want to be made fun of for being a redhead." When actually, in fact, redheads are awesome, and you know, you should own your look, and you should just, because people are always going to tease redheads. They always have. They've always teased redheads and freckly kids because they're jealous, because red gingers are the best, and everybody knows it. So, you know, just if you can take like a little bit of teasing over something minor like the color of your hair, if that's all they have, and then do the Jake, which is when someone says, "Hey, you have red hair," you go, "And your point is?" Because if someone's going to point out the obvious, like your hair color, as an insult, they've got nothing. You know, you can take that on and just go, "Uh-huh. I also have mirrors, so thank you for that news bulletin, but I knew." And you're just kind of like all over the road with, "What do? I don't feel safe. I feel insecure. I don't feel like people like me for me." You need to like you for you. And stop worrying about convincing your parents to dye your hair for all the wrong reasons, like Maddie said. It's not an authentic reason to dye your hair. Ryan?
I think the other thing in here is about whether or not you should get counseling. And I something that, like, I believe, like, that counseling, therapy, whatever it may be, is right for everyone. Like, I don't care who you are, counseling can help everybody, and it's not something to be ashamed of. You know, like, I see a therapist, and it's really helpful for me. Sometimes I just need to talk to someone. Sometimes I just talk sports with him, and sometimes it's more emotional stuff or family stuff. But it's always great to have someone who you know will be there for you, and who has a lot of experience in helping people get through things. And so it's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of, that you're taking a step to help yourself and to do whatever you can to just make yourself feel better. And then my comment on the hair is, dye it if you like it blonde, but don't dye it because other people are telling you that it shouldn't be red. And, you know, it's just like Weezy was saying, just, you know, let them figure out why it is that they're bullying you. Say and they won't really have much to say because they don't really know why they're bullying you.
No, they don't.
What do you think, Sia?
Well, I think that, I understand how you feel about the always feeling fat, and like, because I have a lot of issues with that. And like, I have a lot of issues with the way I look and about feeling insecure about that. So what I've come to do is like tell myself constantly, like in my head, that I'm not fat, that I'm, you know, that I'm normal, or that I look fine, but keep telling myself that I look good, because like I realized that if someone tells you something enough, then you're going to start to believe it. So I thought, why not tell yourself something good? And then eventually you're going to start to believe it. And that'll help a lot with self-confidence. And I mean, getting counseling is great, but I think that's a step you can take that doesn't like require money. I mean, school might offer counselors too, which is great, and I totally think you should do that. But I think that's a step you can take yourself to be more comfortable.
You can always change the voice in your head. If you hear the voice in your head saying negative things, you know, the second you hear a negative thought, change the voice in your head to a positive thought.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when you make your thought positive, don't say things like, "I won't be scared," because then you're giving power to the word scared. Say things like, I will be brave. I will be powerful. I will do well. Don't repeat the thing that you don't want with a negative in front of it. Say the word, change it, and you can even put those Post-its on your mirror that say things like, you know, I will do well, I will thrive, I will have an interesting life, those types of affirmations. Yes, exactly. From Leah, I'm going to have Co read this one. This one, I want to preface it by saying this one speaks to teen girl confusion. It may speak to boy confusion as well, but it kind of gives voice to specifically what girls kind of feel.
Hey Weezy, I recently went on a 4-day tour with my choir. I had the best days of my life because my crush was also there with me, and we had tons of fun, though there were little bits of depressing things, but they don't bother me anymore. I don't know what it was, but when I got home I felt more depressed than ever. I first didn't feel like talking to anyone. I didn't want to do anything or think anything. I then ran to my room and started crying. I was a bit jealous because my crush was sitting with other girls, but he wanted me to sit with him on the ride home. I don't know why I was so depressed. I couldn't stop crying, and I looked for ways to make myself happy, but I couldn't. When I talked about this with my friend today, she said she was crying too. I know she didn't like anyone in the choir, so I know it's probably not about my crush either. Do you know why I was so depressed? I did hit puberty, but this has never happened ever before. Can you please think why I was so depressed? Even now I'm still a tiny bit sad. Please help.
All right, well, I have some thoughts on this, but I'm going to see if you guys have some thoughts first. Go ahead, Sio.
I do this to myself all the time. Like I went to Philadelphia, and when I came back, like I cried on the entire plane ride back. I did not want to be back here. And then I kept thinking all these negative things, and like, I don't want to be here. Philadelphia is so much better than Los Angeles. Like, what am I going to do here? I met so many cool people there. I don't even like anybody here. You know, I kept telling myself that. And, well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
I'm completely taking this very personally.
No. Well, that's the point. Like, I was obviously only focusing on the negative things, you know, and I was exaggerating the negative things.
Well, what I think is happening is when life starts to change rapidly, like all of a sudden something starts ramping up, like for you, the college crawl, and for this kid, maybe the first long field trip away from home, where she was actually having flashes of where it really felt fun, and maybe a few hours of going by without missing her family, and then coming crashing back down to earth and realizing, oh my gosh, what if I'm actually going to be okay out in the world? This is happening way too fast. I can't handle this. I don't even know how to process these emotions, so I'm just going to cry. And I think that's what's happening. It's such an overwhelming swell of change that she did this field trip away from home that maybe a 4th grader wouldn't do, but a 5th grader would do. And then it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening to me? Am I growing apart from my family because I'm not ready to, and just confusion. Go ahead, Ryan.
Just a story similar to this that my brother experiences just about every year. He goes to the same sleepaway camp for about 3 years each summer. And
3 years every summer?
Sorry, 3 weeks. My
Wow,
bad.
He's
every
a time
year.
bender.
Yeah, no, he goes for 3 years every summer. No, 3 weeks every summer, and he's got about the closest group of friends I've ever seen. And some live in New York and Nevada and here in LA, and they'll like travel to see each other. But he comes back, and it's a week or two of him just like in his room, like not talking to anyone in the family, and when he does, he's really agitated, and like he understands that it's, you know, it's nothing, like he knows that it's because he's like not at camp anymore, but sometimes he just has to let it pass, and it takes him a long time to let it pass. And today, like me experiencing this was for the end of 7th and all of 8th grade, I was at a boarding school in Colorado, and I was telling my friends today at my high school a couple of stories from that, like some of the good stories, and all of a sudden, like I really started missing it, and like something just clicked where I got really emotional, and I didn't really show it, but like I don't know, like I feel like if it's a much more recent thing, because you know that was a year and a half ago for me, or almost 2, I guess. So if this is something you just got back from your trip, I can see how you'd be really emotional, and sometimes it's just time that's going to heal it. Mm-hmm. Time heals all wounds.
Yeah, and you don't have to understand everything you're feeling. You can just sit in your room and cry. And if you watch the movie Broadcast News, Holly Hunter, who's like in her 20s in this movie, she works really, really hard during the day on this new... Is that the right movie, Howard? She works really, really hard in this newsroom during the day, and then at home she just goes and sits on her bed and cries. And she doesn't have a specific reason. She's just a female, and that's what we do to release tension sometimes. Kyo?
One of the kind of weirdest things that I hear about from people is them feeling anxious about their feelings, and like, should I be feeling this? Mm-hmm. Why am I feeling this? And like, you're like, it's kind of like you can feel whatever you want. It's not going to be wrong no matter what you feel, really. And I mean, and for this, the reason I would what it seems like to me is you are just like high on life and you're coming down.
Right.
Like that's kind of
That's a good explanation too. And also, adolescent girls do cry for no reason. That's just a fact. Ryan?
I don't exactly have the solution to this. I don't think there is too much of a solution, but just to like say that, there are a lot of people that are right there with you. Like a long time ago, I used to have an issue where I get really, really strong sadness, and then I'd tell my dad, and he'd be like, "Why are you sad?" And I'd be like, I don't know. And then I kind of realized that I don't have to be sad. And so sometimes even if you do know that there's a reason why, once you realize that like what that reason is, which you have, which is that you're not on that choir trip anymore, you can focus your attention on the good things. And like what Sia was saying was she was exaggerating the negatives and exaggerating the positives of Philadelphia. But if you know that you're going to be back in LA and that's just the way things are and you have to face it, you can exaggerate the good things here or just like look at the bright side. And it's hard to do, but it's
and
useful.
Then look forward to the next exciting thing that's going to happen.
Exactly.
And just kind of just be like having so much time around your crush probably was really heady for you because usually you see him like maybe an hour a day. Go ahead, Q.
also something that is kind of the opposite a little bit of what Ryan was just saying, which is something that I did was like, it was like the first day I like spent an entire day with her, and like we had a really good time and it was really fun, and like I was preparing myself and I was like, when I was in that fun moment, I was like, I'm gonna be sad to like be away from her. I was preparing myself mentally, and I was like,
that's so cute. It reminds me of like my cousin Daniel came to he was touring colleges a couple weeks ago. And one of the colleges on his list is UCSB, which is where I live with my husband, Santa Barbara. And, of course, we were, like, going, go team UCSB because we wanted Daniel. And but I think he loved the campus so much and that he has enough wisdom to actually look at me and say, what happens if I go to school in Santa Barbara for 4 years and then I have to leave and live somewhere else because Santa Barbara is sort of like heaven on earth. And, that was a very realistic thing to say, like, this is almost too good to be true to live in a city that's beautiful. And then, you're not going to get a job in Santa Barbara. It's kind of a small town. You'd have to go somewhere else. And that was a really realistic question, I thought. But you know what? Enjoy the good things that come in your life, and they're there to teach you something and then make you stronger for the next patch that might be a little bit rougher. And then get back to Santa Barbara if that's your goal. So give us a call at 888-531-7171. The phone lines are wide open. The chat room is wide open. We want to hear how everyone's enjoying the update. We've seen a lot of people really doing creative and wonderful and imaginative things with their profile. Now you can share your profile to Instagram, and we hope that you do that because it will screen cap your profile this month, and you'll always have a record of how you felt about yourself every month of your childhood. If you once a month at least share your profile, change it a little bit with your interests as you're growing, and post it to Instagram. Eventually, we want to have a scrapbook that'll become a part of your bookshelf, so you'll be able to save all of your profile changes and have a record of what you felt about yourself as you went through your childhood. Ryan?
Everyone had a really awesome time with the app once it came out. Like the second I downloaded it, I was like customizing my avatar and I was doing my background. I was just figuring out how things worked, and it's awesome. It's a lot of bugs, but I really love it.
Doesn't it look really neat how the text looks over the background photo? And when you scroll it,
and
it
feels
so
a lot
beautiful.
more personal, almost. Like I don't know, it feels more like I'm sharing my hope with other people, not, I don't know. It feels more personal
than just a little avatar.
Yeah.
And so some bugs that we found in the first version of the update were that it wasn't really working properly on iPad. That has already been submitted to the App Store, and there was no share button for iPad profiles, and the push notifications were not working. So that was definitely a glitch, and even though I was telling you guys, it's going to work, it actually wasn't ever going to work. So, but you use a push notification company, and so it's like a third party that we're all triangulating with to get all of this to work. So, the update is in review. We are Our Place Out Loud. Give us a call 888-531-7171. I wish I could remember the name of the user who suggested this, and I'm so sorry. If you know your name and you're listening, please call. She had written in chat or somewhere, she had written, "Dear Mom," and then just kind of like pour her heart out to her mom. And I thought, what a great idea. So I put in chat, I said, hey, you guys should all write "Dear whoever you need to speak to" and just get it out. And then she wrote to me and Ask Wheezy and said, why don't you make this a section? So we put it under Caring, Sharing, and Venting, and it's Dear Blank. And a couple of things that came in, I just thought I would read, or let you guys read. Keo, you want to read the first one from Love, Peace, and Happiness?
Sure.
Ironically, that's her screen name, and she wrote the following.
Dear Renee, is that
Yes, that's
Renee?
Yeah, it's not.
I'm glad my dad didn't have to give my sister back to you. You're a FNB star TCH, and don't even deserve your own kids you had before. I feel bad for all of them. They all need to be taken away, and you can rot in H star LL. Double hockey sticks.
Isn't it funny that I gave this one to the sweetest person on the panel?
And I'm not sorry one bit. You hurt my sister, and you're dead to me. I could say so much more, but there would be a lot of stars. Like,
yeah, asterisks.
Censors.
All right, so she was venting in a dear letter to her stepmother, I guess, and I don't know. Do you guys feel like it's a healthy thing? That's not a healthy thing for her to say, oh, hey, Renee, I wrote you a letter in this app. You should check it out. But was it healthy for her to get that off her chest, Ryan?
I think it's extremely healthy. And, my mom has a boyfriend who she's been dating for a while now, and there was, a point early on where I really did not like him, and I basically felt just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was I've just yelled stuff at him once, but had I written it down, it wouldn't have had to come out like that. And now we're totally good, but I don't know, I feel like it's really useful to get your emotions out, and if it's in writing and if it's not directed at anyone, if it's just not directly to them, I don't think there's anything wrong with writing something about them like that. It's just expressing your feelings.
Mm-hmm. And it might be kind of a flood of relief that she got her sister back as well. Keo.
yeah, I just want to reaffirm what you said. It's definitely not positive to feel this way, but if you're gonna feel this way, and so you might as well be able to get it out in a peaceful and non-harmful way where you can say what you want.
Maddie, do you want to read the dear mom from Maddie 13 Rocks, who shares your name?
Dear Mom, when I try telling you about my anxiety, don't change the subject to your stress. I need help with all my anxiety, and you're complaining about how I don't help isn't making me better. It just adds more stress.
Ryan?
This, I think, is one of the ones that would be better to actually say to your mom.
Right.
Because, when you're expressing, love, peace, and happiness was just the way you feel, that's not going to be beneficial if you tell the person. In fact, it's probably going to hurt the situation. But if you're at Maddie 13 Rocks and you can say to your mom, Mom, I want to talk to you about my anxiety, but, a lot of times you change the subject, and that's not too helpful for me. So would you please try and stay on track this time? That's productive. And I think if you say it like that, your mom's not going to be offended by that or anything. So if it's productive, I think it's awesome for you to tell her. But Keo, what do you say?
Yeah, I can't really tell just from the text because they might have been screaming that in their head. But if you can say it calmly, then it can be constructive, and it's a good thing to share. So.
One of the things that I find quite often in the app is that the kids who need therapy the most are the kids who have parents who are the least likely to allow it. Parents who see it as a personal failure. I'm going to pretend my child isn't sad, because if anyone were to find out my child is sad, they would blame me. Therefore, let's pretend my child isn't sad. And Maddie 13 Rocks has specifically been encountering this problem to a very, very painful degree, and we're trying so hard to help her, but she needs therapy. And I don't know if this is what she's getting from her mom. If your mom is saying, stop talking like that, you're just making me feel stressful, that's not helping. And who I should be talking to is Maddie's mom, not Maddie, because it's at a point where I really need to be talking to her mom. But, in our place, I'm talking to the kids. So what can Maddie do? Because we've been struggling with this for a few months now. Keo.
Well, I just want to say that I wish people didn't have such a negative connotation to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Because when somebody says, oh, I have a therapist or I have therapy, and it's not physical therapy, then they're the response is kind of, oh, why are you doing there must be something wrong.
Well, the answer is why not? But when you get to a place in your life, in school, in your career, where you're in this very close kind of environment where everybody knows everybody else's business, and let's say someone finds out that you cut, and then it becomes this shameful thing that everyone sort of knows, and there's no visible means of escape to the child who's sort of stuck in this, I'm sad, everyone knows I'm sad, everyone knows I'm sad except my mother, who's the person who needs to know that I'm sad, and that I can't help this kid with cutting. Cutting is a serious problem that needs professional attention. Maddie.
Adding on to Keo, I mean, do people have a negative connotation to help? No, not really, right?
Or to if you have a broken leg, that there needs to be a cast on it. Like, why?
That's true.
Why are you allowed to have other ailments, but you're not allowed to have someone to talk to? I've had a therapist for many years. I go every 2 weeks, just kind of maintenance, just because everyone has stress in their lives, and we don't have to go around the room and say, I'm in therapy, because it's like really not like, some people go to yoga. Like, what's the difference if you're doing something for your body or if you're doing something for your mind and your emotional health? There should not be any shame. There's way less shame now than there was, let's say, 50 years ago. But Ryan?
Yeah, part of that for me is like I've been trying to come up with a good analogy like for a long time to figure it out, and haven't really to explain it, but I haven't really come up with anything. So I'm gonna give you what I got, which is that like therapy can almost be like a massage, and if you're like really if your muscles are like all tightened up, a massage can get you from like bad to good.
I think that's.
And if you're in a good position, a massage can still take you from good to great. Like it never hurts. It can only just be useful, and anyone can use it. It doesn't matter what situation you're in.
Unless they're bad masseuse.
Well.
Which still applies to the therapist.
If you have a bad therapist, then I think that's
another thing that I want kids to know. Like, if this therapist is not the right fit, that doesn't mean that therapy sucks. It just means that you have to find someone who clicks with you. Jakey.
What? No.
Oh, were you just stretching?
Yeah. But I mean, like, the thing is, it's difficult to find the right therapist. Just from experience, it takes a long time. But when you do find that person, like even after like week 2, you can share like. Or session 2, you can share like just about anything with them, and they also don't expect you to have to like share things with them, so they don't expect and pry for these deep things. They let you express however much you want, and they're just there to listen.
What's really cool about a good therapist? They remember the names of all the people, even in the periphery of your life. Like, you'll bring up some random name from like a year ago, and it'll be on their notepad, and they'll at least act like they know exactly who Harold is. And you're like, even I barely know who that person is, and they remember how he factors into your life. Like, therapists are really good people. They're people. Go ahead, CO.
Okay, 2 things. One, my therapist does not remember every name I mentioned. He's an amazing therapist, though. But, okay, so when I was younger, like 6 or 7, I had this therapist that my first therapist, I really did not like her at all. Like, she softened my situation, because like when me and my mom would go in, I would be crying, bawling, like I could crumble up and die, type crying. Exactly, right? And I see her weeping, see? I wasn't weeping. That bothered me so much. And then she wanted to play, like, Guess Who all the time when I was the only one in there. And I was like, hey, why don't we try drawing a picture, and then you can ask me how I feel about it, or maybe you can get me to draw an emotion, and then I can draw something. And she was like, oh, okay, draw happiness.
So she was condescending.
Why? She wasn't even condescending. She was just so like, oh, no, don't feel bad about this.
She sugar-coated everything.
Yeah, to the max. And it was like, when I tell me to draw an emotion, I'm not. When have you ever seen me happy in here? Like, I mean.
Yeah.
What?
Good point. Read the kid.
And then it was like hope and like freedom. It was like, those aren't emotions I can feel.
Well, maybe she should go to the Ren Fair.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Just a quick thing before I forget it. I have this friend at school. Actually, I have a couple friends at school, but the one I was thinking of, her name's Sam, and she works for this thing called Teen Line, which is basically like whenever you want, you can just call them and talk to other teens.
Yeah, so they're in our helpline.
Oh, they are in our helpline. All right, cool. So check in our helpline thing, and just like if you before therapy set up, or if it doesn't come along as soon as you hope. Just like give them a call, and basically like another teenager will answer, and you can just talk to them on the phone about how you're feeling, and it's like really smart, well-informed, helpful teenagers.
has anyone ever called a helpline? Because I would expect that every helpline operates differently, but I often will get a question from a child saying, what happens when I call the helpline? So has anyone here called a helpline to know what happens? Because I just don't know, how to answer that question. Ryan?
Well, I don't know about many other hotlines except for that one, but I can just say for that one,
Sure.
like they pick up and say, hey, my name's Sam, what's going on?
Yeah,
And
they listen, and they've been through training, and they know how to handle the different situations. And they probably have a bunch of helplines in front of them in case they can't answer what you have. So,
Well, I've answered a phone for a helpline.
have you?
Yeah, I mean, I just said, hi, I'm CO. What's up? What's wrong? What can I do for you? Or I didn't say, what can I do for you? That was against the rules. At first I said, how are you? Or thank you for calling. And they were like, don't say that.
Can you ask them to draw their emotion?
I
Draw
wish.
with Friends 2 just came out.
Were you going to say something, Maddie?
Yeah, I really like my therapist, and I just wanted to say like one of the reasons why, because when I was younger, my therapist I would, when I'd tell her about something and then I'd say it's fine, she'd go and then the therapist, and that kind of, I was like, okay. And then, now my therapist, I said, it's fine. She goes, no, it's not. And
Gotcha.
I'm like, yeah.
She challenges you.
No, it's not. Thank you.
Yeah, she reads you and she challenges you to get to the meat. Okay. We have 888-531-7171. We would love to hear from you. Also, if we're at 200, screen cap it. It's for posterity. So, another section that we have under caring, sharing, venting, I believe, is confessions. So who wants to read Nina 2000's confession? Ryan?
My best friend and I haven't talked for a week, and she's always looking at me and stuff, and I don't want to forgive her. What do I do?
All right. So if she's open to writing to us, why do you suppose she's not open to resolving? How long does it take to where you're ready to let something go or listen to an apology, Maddie?
I think it really depends on what happened and what caused this kind of break in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it could also just be, afraid of confrontation. Like I was having a problem with a friend, and I would talk to my mom about it, talk to my dad about it, and they would keep saying, you should talk to her, and I'd be like, and they'd be like, so did you talk to her today? No.
You just weren't ready, right?
Yeah, and then like a couple, days later, I was like, okay, I think I should talk to her now, and in the end it was a misunderstanding, but still, it's just, you need to be ready to talk to that person, because if somebody's telling you to talk to someone and you don't want to, it's not gonna end well.
Okay, but if the kid is always like staring at her, what if she says something like, you know what, I'm just not ready? No, don't say anything. Ryan?
I would say if you're not ready, don't say anything, because what can happen when you say, I'm just not ready, first off, they could, I don't know, like sometimes things are taken the wrong way when they're just staring at you, so it could just create an awkward situation where then it like forces you to talk about it because you're like, not ready for what? And then you have to explain yourself.
Oh, gotcha.
But I was just going to say, like, you'll know, like, it'll click when you're ready to talk to them if that time comes, because, like, just for me, a smaller scale thing was, like, yesterday my mom called me and, like, she was giving me, like, a finger waving, and I was like, Mom, I know, just, and I was just, like, I was kind of, like, rude and snappy, and, like, I ended the call kind of abruptly, and then, like, I got in the shower, and then I was like, I should probably call my mom. Like, before I got in the shower, I was like, maybe I should apologize, and then, like, I was showering, and I was just like, I need to apologize. Then I called her, and it was fine. It's like, it just clicks, and you'll know.
Right. CO.
I mean, when I was having a problem with one of my friends, this isn't recently, but I didn't want to forgive her at all. I was still mad at her. She came up to me. She's like, can we talk? And I'm like, I guess so. Because, I mean, she kept, like, doing that stuff, like looking my way or bothering me. And I was being kind of mean, too. I was like, I shouldn't be so mean. I know it, and I don't want to stop, but I should. So I told her, and when we talked, I was like, I'm still mad at you. Like, I'm still upset with you, and I'm sorry for doing this and this and this, but I still feel upset with you, so I'm not going to act very friendly towards you until I get over that. And I told her, it's nothing really, you can't really do anything to help me get over that.
Ah, that is very clear and very honest.
Me.
Really good. I love that.
Q?
Q?
Yeah, I would ask yourself, I would ask yourself, I wouldn't ask yourself, but if I were you, I would ask myself why exactly you don't want to forgive her, and if it's just because you're not ready, or if it's you feel she doesn't understand what she did, or
That's a good
if
point.
it's like, because she seems to feel sorry, but there's still the you don't understand really what you did that doesn't make you want to forgive someone. And then there's the I'm not ready to forgive you just because I'm still angry. So ask yourself if it's that, and ask yourself if you really don't want to forgive her, because I mean, I just have this memory in my head of like me when I'm a kid, and I was pouting and I got angry at something, and like I wasn't laughing and I had my arms crossed, and then my older brother started making jokes, and I was like,
Oh my god, I have that all the time.
and I was like, no, not gonna. And then he started poking me and started tickling me, and then like I just couldn't help like laugh. But I mean, there it's possible that you're being stubborn over forgiving. So there's a lot of different reasons why you. But likeCio said, I mean, if you talk to her, tell her you're not ready to forgive her, and be honest. That's my advice. What do you think, Ryan?
No, yeah, I was just going to add on to that. My brother used to do that to me all the time. I'd be really mad, and he'd start tickling me and poking me and cracking jokes. And, like, part of me would say, just get over it, just laugh. And the part of me would be like, no, I'm mad. I'm supposed to be mad. I'm supposed to not give in to him and show him that because it was him that was bothering me at first. But I would just crack, and I would laugh so hard, and I'd feel so much better. Like, sometimes, even if you don't want, it's sometimes hard to get yourself to admit to it. But sometimes it's just stubbornness that can be holding you back. And
Exactly. Like, but, sometimes you can, like, if what she did in the first place was just, like, so painful, like, you can still be in that, like, I really miss her, and then you suddenly remember what she did, and you're just like, but no! Ow! Yeah, and it just, it takes a while, and she should, if she did something, like, really, really hurtful or painful, or, like, it should probably be talked out and not just, like, laughed and let go.
Definitely.
Like, I always try to, like, really apologize thoroughly with people. Like, just, like, yeah, it might get worse before it gets better. I've been through those conversations with people where it's going to get worse before it gets better, but, like, you want to be understood, and you want them to know that they're understood. Like, you're hearing them. I want to go on to this next one because I just love it so much. It's very delicious. It's Jenny answering a question about how to know when you're, like, the early warning signs of emo-ness. And who would like to read this whole thing because it's just so great? Maddie.
So the question was from someone random to Jenny, and it says, how can I tell if I'm becoming emo? If you start listening to emo bands, My Chemical Romance is the classic, XD smiley face, wearing emo band shirts and skinny jeans, wear a lot of eyeliner and have flippy side fringe, then you're probably becoming an emo. If you choose to label yourself as one, it is not anything to do with being depressed or self-harming. It is just a popular teenage subculture.
Excellent answer. So she had asked me the same question in Ask Wheezy with, anonymous as her name, and I just said, if you're really, really sad, you should go see a therapist. But if you just simply like dark eyeliner and black clothing, then, it's just you being you. So labels are just labels. And emo has been around for a long time. It's almost like, how do you know if you're a rocker? Like, that's been around since the 50s, right? So, like, emo, I don't see it going anywhere. It just seems to be sticking around. Do you guys have any thoughts on it? Because we could have easily been having this exact same conversation 10 years ago, and I'm not even exaggerating. So how do you guys feel about emo? Are you guys still using that label here in California, or is go ahead, Ryan?
I mean, yeah, and what Jenny said specifically about it doesn't have to do with self-harm or depression. It's like, I think it does have a bad connotation for that, because it doesn't have to do with that, and there is just, like, it's a subculture. There's music, there's clothing, there's styles that go along with it, and enjoying it is, like, kind of what makes you emo, the same way that enjoying rock music and that lifestyle makes you a rocker, and if you like rap, like, all that kind of stuff. But I don't, I mean, there's nothing to worry about or to be scared about or embarrassed about. It's just like,
This is what you're
It's-
gravitating towards, and
I'm
you
a
know.
sports fan. That's it. You know.
Yep. And what's interesting is, Jenny described all the, kind of like clothing and hairstyles, and she's in England, and so this seems to be becoming
Yeah.
universal kind of a definition of what this type of kid is, and so it's fine. Pink Princess, my best friend flirted with a guy I'm in love with. We're not dating, but she knows I'm in love with him. So how do you feel about this? Like, do you get to claim ownership over someone just by virtue of having a crush, Ryan?
This is one of those things that gets under my skin so much. Like you guys can see my hand, but it like shot right up. I don't think anyone has ownership over anyone just because they have feelings for them. Because if I have the feelings for someone and one of my buddies has feelings for the same person, I mean, what more gives me the right to be entitled to them, or him the right to be entitled to them? Let alone they have their own choices of who they like, and it could be neither of us, And also, like, flirting is just kind of like, it's a surface level thing. It's just like, I don't know. They didn't ask them out, and you haven't made your move, and I'm not saying that you should, but sometimes it's tough when your friend likes someone and you're like waiting for them to make their move and they won't, and you're kind of like, I might as well just start flirting with the person, because you're like, come on, do something, here's your opportunity, and then they don't, and it's like, I don't want to be rude to the person, but I kind of want to, I got to take care of myself too, not take care of myself, but do my own thing. What do you think, Hugh?
I'd also just be sure that they were flirting, because that can be misunderstood. I mean, you could just be like, say that you were talking to them, and also there's no reason to be too upset, because flirting doesn't necessarily mean that you have feelings for this person, and it doesn't, it's just too vague of a thing to me to be sure. But I guess you could ask your friend, were you flirting? Like, it seemed like you were flirting. I like him. Why are you doing that? But, it doesn't seem that bad. What do you think, Maddie?
Well, I think another reason why you could see this as flirting is if you want to be with that person, you might kind of see it as flirting because you really want to be with them. So when somebody else kind of gets in contact with them, you're jealous, and you kind of see it as them trying to, seize an opportunity that you could have taken. So you see it as flirting when they're really just talking.
Right, but what about those girls that will just instantly flirt with whoever they find out that you like, just to see if that boy would like them more?
And have no reaction. You need to just,
Well,
it is a thing.
Well,
isn't it a thing, guys?
Sort of ish.
That's not really a good friend to me. Like, why are you doing that? That's kind of hurtful.
It's like a territorial girl, kind of like insecure girl, kind of. It's definitely
if
a thing.
that's actually a reason, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, it is.
It is kind of messed up, but I didn't even know that was a thing. And your friend, I don't think, the way it sounds is they didn't do anything to intentionally harm you, at least not from what it comes across, not from the way it comes across, And you didn't say, like, what should I do? You just kind of made a statement that she knows you're in love with him. And chances are, my guess is that if they're a really good friend, they probably weren't flirting with them, and it was one of those things like Maddie was talking about, where you're really into someone and someone else starts talking to them, and you almost see it as the worst possible scenario. But yeah.
Jakey?
They may be trying to make you jealous to make you make a move. I don't know. I don't understand any kind of flirting or anything, but maybe they've tried to convince you to do things and you haven't, so either they're trying to convince you to do something, or they're a bad friend.
Yake Plank, the love guru.
Yakey the Plaguey. That was very insightful. Excellent. Okay, we have a last question coming in from Mystic Cloud. Why do guys always think that when a girl is bisexual that she's trying to get attention or that she's up for stuff? It's really confusing. It's hard enough coming out of the closet. People harassing you about wanting attention is really annoying. Why do you all do it? So basically she asked this under Ask a Guy, and then the guys were all like, why are you accusing us of this? We don't. And she's like, no, I'm really honestly basing this on my own personal experience, that a guy, and maybe she's older than some of the younger kids, and maybe she's old enough to know that, like, maybe at 18 a guy who finds out that a girl is bisexual thinks that, oh my gosh, you're going to kiss girls in front of me and it's going to be awesome, and you're also then going to kiss me and I'm going to get to kiss both girls, and woohoo, party. But like, do guys just assume, like, if you hear a guy that a girl is bisexual, that just means that she's loose or something? Keo?
I don't, and I think that's partly why the guys reacted that way, because the way she phrased the question was kind of like accusing them of thinking that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that about bisexual girls. I mean, and I don't know. I feel like it's not so much. Well, it's partly because I think guys are just kind of like that. Like, I feel like girls aren't so much like, oh, bisexual guy, they're gonna kiss guys and then kiss me, and girls don't think that that's like really great. Like,
No, we
guys
don't.
are
We
like
actually
excited about that, and they're like, "What? Go ahead, Ryan."
No, I mean, I was going to second that. That, you know, I kind of, at first when I read it, was like, it got me a defensive stance because it's like, you know, I don't believe that. But I can see where someone would get the idea that you were talking about. And, you know, just seconding what Keo said, you know, girls aren't really like that. But I mean, there was a girl yesterday who told me she was bi, and I didn't know. And I was like, all right. And that was it.
That's
And then we
'cause
just
you're-
continued on with our conversation.
That's because you're mature and cool. All right, there was a kid in the app, and I don't have this in my rundown, but I just want to talk about this kid. His name was Mimo, and he was talking about like really being severely bullied, where they were taking his phone and like copying all his contacts and like reading all his texts and threatening to post them on the internet if he doesn't hang out with them at lunch, where they torment him, and just like really hijacking his life basically. But he feels like that as a boy that you cannot report it, because it's just going to backfire and blow up in his face. And like, I think girls are more, Maddie and I were talking about this before the show, and I wanted everyone to give a shout out to Mimo, because you know, he's not alone in this is the classic case of like a boy being like pounced on by a group of boys, and the boy feeling like if I say or do anything, I'll just look like more of a victim, I guess. How do you feel about a boy who's just being massively bullied that way by a large group of other boys, Ryan?
I mean, it's messed up, but I was saying earlier that I was having this conversation with a girl who was saying, you know, all the complicated stuff about being a girl, and I started talking about the complicated stuff about being a guy. And
Yeah.
part of that is it's not as clear, but guys are jerks, and the expectation is you put up with it. And it's not
Right.
easy, because you
That's
tell
so
someone,
hard.
and the term that guys will use is, oh, you're a pussy. And it's like, it's insulting, and it's insulting to anyone, but it's annoying because you're all of a sudden like, why, because I'm a man, do my feelings hold less water? You know, why is it that I'm supposed to just deal with them? And the best thing you can do in your own scenario that you have right now with the phone issue is just, you know, keep your phone in your pocket. I don't know. I
Lock
mean,
it.
put a lock on it, and you got to tell someone, like, they're only going to bully you the same way that it's not. If they bully you for telling on them, it can't be worse than the way they're bullying you now. But Keo, what do you think?
I think
Jake.
Jake had something.
Oh.
I didn't know there were complicated things about being a guy or a girl until this podcast happens. Because I've just decided that you don't have to deal with complicated stuff about being anything. Like, if you are okay with who you are, if people don't like who you are, that's their problem. Why should you talk to those kind of people?
Well, the only thing I would say about that is that, like, Jake, we go to, like, I don't want to call you up, but we go to a really accepting school, and in some places, like, you know, they come to you. It's not you talking to them, but they bully you. They take your phone, and they, you know.
Well,
So
they're
sometimes you
kind
can't
of
really exactly
blackmailing
avoid it.
him, Jake, into hanging out with them so they can attack him, because they're saying they're going to post all these pictures. He has family pictures that they took. And, like, I say to the kid, that holds no weight. So you have a family. So your mother sends you loving texts. So, and, you know, and this is maybe in 5th grade or 6th grade or 7th grade, that feels like terribly humiliating. If you took any of their phones, hopefully they would have a loving text from their mom, but maybe not, and that's why they're such jerks. So we're going to have to wrap it up for today. I hope you have some thoughts on that, and you'll go visit our place and let us know your feelings and opinions about today's show. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
It's coming. It's coming.
should.